So, we all know what compression is, but using a compressor like this is gonna level up your mixing game. What's up, my name is Nick from the Future Musician, and before we go on with the video, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, because that would help me out a lot. There are many compressors. Some of them do have a sound, some of them don't really have a sound, but they all compress in some way or form. Everything can work as long as you know what you are doing. And that brings me to the point of this video. So lots of people use compression in a way that they just slap on a compressor on a track and they hope that it's doing something great. If you ask me, that's just a waste of CPU. You can use a compressor in different ways to achieve different things, and I wanted to talk to you about how you can use a compressor and how you can make conscious decisions on the settings. So the power of a compressor is that it can push things back into the track, or they can make things sound really upfront into the track, or that you can use them to just create consistency throughout a certain sound, to give it a certain place in a mix. And every time you slap a compressor on a track, I want to challenge you to make a conscious decision about what compression type and what the settings are. And I'm just gonna give you a few tips on how to achieve that. So as I said, the first thing is to make a conscious decision. Do you want to push things back into the track, or do you want to make things sound upfront? It's really important to make a conscious decision there, because if you push everything back, the whole mix will sound far away. If you make everything sound up front, nothing really sounds up front, and everything is in your face and you can't really hear everything, and it's really fatiguing for your ears. So it's really important to create a good balance between the two. So certain instruments need to be here, certain instruments need to be there, and it's up to you to decide where you want to place them and which instruments you want to place there. If I'm speaking for myself, I really like my drums to be really upfront. I like heavy drum sound, so I always compress the drums in a way that they have more attack, more punch, and that they are in your face. And the same goes for the vocals. I like my vocals to sit here. But sometimes this means that you have to push certain instruments further back, like some guitars or some pianos or stuff like that. But yeah, if you're not really a drum heavy type guy, you can use a compressor in a way to push the drum sounds a little bit more back into the mix. You can also use level, but you can also use compression for this. But how do you use a compressor to make things sound further back or more upfront? So let's say, for instance, you want to make a vocal sound really upfront. What works for me is I tend to make the attack time a little bit slower, so that the initial transients come through, which means the vocals become a little bit spikier and they become more transient heavy, and in that way more in your face. The same goes for drums. If you have a snare and you want to really bring that snare forward and make it have impact, it's a good thing to just check out what the best attack time is for the particular snare. You have to hear that for yourself, but you just open it, and when the transient starts to poke through, that's what you want in that case. So a slower attack time usually brings things more up front. And if you want to do it the other way around, and you want to push things further back into the track, I tend to use a faster attack time, because it cuts off the transients. And because you cut off the transients, everything sounds a little bit more soft and further back. Another thing to consider when using a compressor and using it to make things sound up front or further way back is setting the right release time. If you make the release time really fast, it allows the compressor to act more and act harder, if you will. And this makes sure that something that already does sound up front because of your attack time will sound even more up front because of your release time, because you're pushing everything forward and you allow the compressor to work in that way. The other way around, if you just make the release time a little bit longer, it takes longer for the compressor to act again. And this will help things making sound a little bit more natural, but also place them a little bit more back into the mix. So the combination of the right attack time and the right release time is the key to placing things somewhere in your mix. And make sure you are making a conscious decision. And as for the ratio of the track, this basically is how hard the compressor is working. So when it reaches the threshold of compressing, how hard do you want it to compress? And if you want something to be really aggressive and upfront, or push it really all the way back, you can use a higher ratio. And if you want to make it sound a little bit more natural, you can use a little bit of the ratio, and this way it will sound more natural. So this also helps in placing things like up front, in the middle, or in the back. That's basically it. So that's it for this video. I hope this video was helpful. Using a compressor like this really helped me to level up my mixing game, because I became way more conscious about the decisions I made, whether to place things in front of the mix or further back into the mix. And by doing this, your mix gets way more balanced. So I challenge you, the next time you slap on a compressor, do it in a conscious way. Try to make things sound up front. Try to make it sound further back and see whatever you like most. That's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.